Okay, good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing great. This is the plan for now. First, we are going to oven. We are going to. Do you have any questions? Yeah. First, we are going to finish the first two PowerPoints, the remainder of this semester's content. And right after that, you're going to have 2 hours plus, means you could stay for 4, 5, whatever, 6 hours if you want to finish the 3% bonus lab exercise. Some of them finished already the whole thing, and some people, they just finished like 10 questions and they got 1%. So the number of questions that you complete, that's gonna bring you equal percent. Okay, so the question for this part is, how do I create a pandas data frame from another object? And for this, you have several possibilities. So method one would be a kind of dictionary mechanism. I want you please try this one, and whenever you are done, give me a signal so I can proceed. Awesome, thank you. Who else? Thank you. Okay, if you are done, as always, we start with import pandas as PD, and then the next line, he said, pandas provide for us a data frame, which the structure of that data frame is nothing but a dictionary which contains key value mechanism. And in here, the keys are the column headers, and the values are the list that we pass. Just please be careful that the number of items in each list should be identical to the others, because it's not possible that you have, for instance, 3 elements in one column and 4 elements in the other. It's going to raise an error, right? Okay, what is the problem of this mechanism? The problem of using dictionaries is dictionaries are unsorted data structure. It means that there is no guarantee that ID stays as the first column and color stays as the second column. This is one of the solutions that I'm gonna share with you, and that solution is you can simply say columns equal to ID, comma, color. And in that case, you emphasize that I want to see ID first and color next. As a practice, just swap those two and see the result would be color first and ID second, right? Please take your time. Whenever you are done, give me a signal for that. Thank you very much. Okay, I want to ask if anyone remembers, this is one of the solutions, but we learned something a week or 2 weeks ago that instead of using columns, I can just use a trick to force the system to consider ID, for example, as the first things to show up. What was that trick, if you remember? Anyone? You remember that we said for country, we tried that. So if you say country, well, the data frame that index is equal to country, it's going to be the first things to show up, right? So one of the other things that we can do is to define an index. The next thing that we want to do is assigning our own defined indices, like saying index is equal to A, B, and C. Definitely the number of indices should be equal to the number of rows that we have. Please try this. Done. Okay. Okay. And next thing is, the good thing is if you left behind, simply you can just complete your command with this one. Just I added df at the beginning equal to the rest. And look at this. When you say df, it shows a data frame. If you get the same result, please give me a signal. I can proceed. Thank you. Merci. Okay, method 2. So method 1 was what? Was using dictionary style. And method 2 is list style. So let's see. We say that pd.dataFrame, we pass different rows. Please listen to this. We pass different rows, and the number of elements that you have in each row should be identical to numbers. It's obvious, right? And the thing is, we didn't mention anything as the column headers, and that is why that you see columns are 0 and 1. Well, you know the drills. The next step would be what? Would adding columns equal to ID and color. So in that case, you have column headers too. Mr. Kumar, good. So the speed is fine. Okay. Okay. And the good thing about these practices is if you just joined or if you started your call-up right now, we can just continue from this slide. Well, what about method 3? Imagine that you have any array, right? So it could be generated randomly by NumPy. So let's say import NumPy as NP, and we generate an array that has 4 rows and 2 columns by saying NumPy random rand, and save it into a variable named array. And now, if you just say array or R, you're gonna see random numbers. Yours should be definitely different from mine. And the thing is, as simple as that, whatever your array is, simply you say pd dot data frame, and you pass the array as the argument, as an argument of that method. So it's gonna show you like what we learned before. Rows and columns, but it's not a matrix. It's a data frame. And we do not have any header column header. So simply what we did before, we're gonna just say columns equal to, for example, 1, 2, and in the next slide, if you say, show me the, it's going to just replace those numbers with string 1 and string 2. So how many methods, how many mechanisms we used so far to create a data frame? The first one was a dictionary, you remember? The second one was using the list, and the lists are gonna stack on top of each other. And the third one, using an array. It could be kind of random numbers that you generated, or any array. You simply pass them to data frame. Okay, let's go to method 4, which is a kind of combination of previous methods. Let's see. So in this case, we have that key value thing, but in the value part, we do not pass a list. We have some calculations. For example, here we say numpy that a range, and that range would be from 100 to 110, and anybody can tell what is that number 1 here? Sorry? Maharsh and Harlan, I know Harlan, yes, sorry. Okay, so Lucas with K and Maharshi, just a quick question, sorry to drop. You got quite good number of bonus marks in the previous session, right? I just wanted to ask you one question. Did I apply? Did you get the update of the bonus marks last week? Lucas, how about you?
I didn't check.
Would you please check it? Thank you. The reason for that is I always check the column that I enter. I guess that I have already updated, but I've forgotten that check. Okay, so you already said that it is updated. Awesome. How about you, Lucas? Thank you.
The bonus time at S3 or multiple areas.
So just yes, we have lots of bonus columns. The first bonus column, the very first one. It was not updated. Okay, Takami, you had as well. So can you please confirm it if it was updated? It was updated last week, not before. So we have just one exception. That is Lucas. Okay, Lucas, I'm gonna take care of it in the, no worries. Look at this one, please. Yes, one is the step, and the next one is, I couldn't recognize what this guy is. So we say rand int 60, 101, and 10. Is it 10 step or something? What's this? Anyone has any opinion? Yes? Sorry?
Length of the column.
10 is the length of a column. And do you remember your
36.
Bravo? And Mr. Kumar, you as well. Did you receive any update last week? Sorry? Okay. So, as Kumar said, the last one is what? Is the number of elements that we want to have. And this is gonna provide random index numbers between 60 to 101, means not including 101, between 60 to 100, and integer numbers, right? And let's go to the next part and say, in the previous one, we had student and test, and I told you already, if you want to insist that student should be the first column, one of the ways that you can do it is just saying .set index, and then you just mention student as the index. Technically, by doing so, we only have one series, which is test, because index is not part of this. Remember that? Okay, just make sure that you are done with this and give me a signal after that. Done. Okay. And the bonus part for this part is, imagine that you remember we created one, and those friends that left behind, I'm sorry, this belongs to the beginning of the session. We had one data frame, and we just add one series here. The items in the series are random, square, and the indices are C and B for round and square respectively. Let's call this series shape, okay? Okay, so now let's put this series into a variable named S. What is the difference between S and shape? Guys, shape is a series name, but S is a variable that stores that series. And what we want to do is the next step. Remember that we had a DF, a data frame, which contained these numbers like 100, 101, and 102. And you remember that we said the indices for them should be A, B, and C. And now we want to concatenate a series and a data frame. Do you think that they're going to just randomly get aligned or what? Again, look at this one. The indices are A, B, C. And for series, the indices were C and B. So what would happen is, yes, B, which was a square, is going to stay near 101 loop, because the index for that one is B as well. And round is going to stay close to 101, 102 red, because the index of that is C. And because we didn't have anything for index A, we see that there's a null value over there. Does that make sense? And again, I repeat, imagine that we insert a series that contains two values. And then the data frame has 3 rows. The only option that we could have is to align those two data series and then just leave null for the one that we do not have any value for. Okay, just one thing, if you use Anaconda and when you say pd.concatenate df and s, comma, axis equal to 1, in some old version of Anaconda, you may receive this error. You just simply can say sort is equal to true, which is the current behavior, but sort equal to false is what would happen in a later versions. That's what the warning is about. Okay, so if you are done with that, especially this part, please give me a signal, and then I can move to the next slide. Done? Just to make sure that I'm not going to give mark to anyone else. Shot. Thank you, Masha. Okay, done. Done. That's it. Okay, by saying that, we just only have one more slide to cover. And let me just close this one. Okay, the question for this one is, how do I apply a function to a pandas series or data frame? A great question. Actually, we have worked with map before. So we want to work with map, apply, and apply map. So for the sake of these practices, please pull up bit.ly.kaggle train. That's the Titanic dataset. And check the first 5 rows by saying train.head. And when you are done, please give me a signal. Yes, sir. Sorry? And thank you very much. No worries. Okay, so the very first thing that we want to do is, imagine here we have one column. You remember that dummy variables that we worked on, right? Dummy variables, you remember? So imagine that we want to do something similar to that. Is let's consider the column that we have for genders, like male at 1 and female has 0. What we are going to do is we are going to say, hey, go to train to the sex column and let's map female to 0s and male to 1s. And we're going to do one thing. We just create a new column called sex_num. And the thing here is practicing log. We say train.log. And we say the first 5 rows by saying 0:4. And just remember, log is one of the exceptional methods that we have, which is inclusive both sides, right? And then we say, comma, column sex and column sex_num. So you see beautifully, it could just map all the male females to 1s and 0s, right? So whenever you're done, please just give me a signal. Done. Awesome. Thank you. So look at this. It says that the next method that we're this one, what should we call it? Map is a series method. Means that we can just only apply map to series. But the next one, apply, is actually is both series and data frame methods. So the next method that we're going to work on is apply, which is in both series and data frame method. Let's start with the series that apply, which applies the function to each element in a series. So imagine that you have, I don't know, a column that contains some numbers, and you want just to use rounding, kind of rounding down or rounding up. Or as you see here, we say train dot name length, and it's equal to train dot name dot apply length. So please listen to this. Len is a method, right? But the thing is, this method doesn't contain any parentheses. Apply works like that. When you want to use any method, you shouldn't bring the parentheses. What's going to happen? It goes to train. Let me just use lazy pointer. We go to train data frame to name, what should we call it? Data series, right? Alright, what is this one? It says that for every single element in that column, right? Just calculate the length. Okay, the problem is where should I get that? I mean, just where should I collect that? And on the other side, we set train name underscore length. And the good thing is, it is going to concatenate that column at the end of the data frame that we have. So now again, practicing log, we say, please show me the first 5 rows by saying 0, 4, inclusive, and these 2 columns, name and name length. We don't need to, apparently it is accurate. So this one is 23 character, the next one 51, and so on and so forth. So please make sure that everything works. And if that works, then give me a signal, please, and I go to the next slide. Merci. Thank you. We are gonna just pretty soon for you, so don't worry, it's gonna be something like a reset. Just go to Colab. Okay, let me just do one thing, guys. Can you please confirm if you go to what should we call it, to course content pandas? Do you see a slide number 27 all the way to 30? No. Until no, okay, there's one button, gray button, you have to say load more.
No, 26 is the last.
And you said that this class is what? This class is 92, right? 91?
Yeah.
Oh no. 92, 93. So I posted to a wrong group something. Okay, 91. Let's go to the content. And pandas. And then if you go to pandas right now, down, especially those who came late. Now you can, where are the things? 27 all the way to 30. So the good thing is now we can follow up with the class. And let me just delete this one too. And I'm going to update that file with all the content. Yes, the recent version that I provided. There we go. So now you should have everything. Okay. Rachel is in the class. Woodur is not in the class. Okay, so I don't need to update their group now. Let's continue. This is what we did. And the next attempt would be, we are going to use apply once again to work on a data series, like just to say, if you haven't fetched or uploaded the pull up the Kaggle train, please do it. And then we are going to import NumPy because we want to use a NumPy method. And the beautiful thing is you simply can use NumPy methods in apply when you apply them on pandas. So we go to train, we go to fair, and we say, please apply numpy.ceiling, CL. And what does it mean? Look at the fair column, please. It is 7.25, 71.28, and so on and so forth. And you see, it's going to round up all of them, which is ceiling, right? Please try this. Spend a few seconds, see if everything is super clear. You have no merci. Thank you very much, Alan. Okay, if you see that there are some other new neighbors, they decided to keep staying and working on the lab exercise. This is the option that you have as well. You can just stay till 6 o'clock. I can't stay more, I'm sorry. But yes, just feel free to stay till 6 o'clock, yes. I think that the only person who has no problem is Harlan, because you always bring lunch, dinner, everything in your hands. So you can stay till later. Awesome. So let's go to the next part. Look at this one, please. Let's go to train, and still we want to use apply. So we are going to say train data frame dot name. And this time we use, because it is a string method, we say stir. And we ask that please split it using comma. What is the goal for that? We want to fetch the last name, which is the first part of this comma separated last name, first name column. And remember, when you do that, it's not a series anymore. You convert it to a list that has indices. Does that make sense? Just quickly take a look at it. Go to train, go to name series, use stir, then split it using comma separated values. And then we show the first 5 rows, and then look at the next one. We define, I know we have easier ways to take care of it, but we say, let's have get element method. You pass a list to it and a position. So it's going to fetch that specific index that you want to fetch from the list. Does that make sense? Okay, what is the index you think we should use for this data series? Anyone? What is the position that we are going to fetch? Because we want to get the last thing. What is the index that I'm gonna pass?
-1.
Guys, the answer is here. So don't worry. So we say that apply and look at here again, we don't use get elements using parentheses. And the reason for that is, well, technically when you say whatever it is, dot apply, you use the name of a method without parentheses. And the position that you want to pass, you just mentioned a position is equal to 0. And guess what? It's just gonna fetch the last thing, which is the index 0. Take your time, whenever you're done, give me a signal. Let's see. Let's see. Thank you. Yes.
Sorry, so it works because it's already on like a list element. If you're just calling it the get element, which takes my list position,
True.
giving it a position 0. So then.
Okay, to answer your question, apply is used for 2 cases, for data frames and for students. Does that make sense? In that case, we say go to train, go to name column, and then when you say stir dot split using comma, technically the output of this one is going to be another series. Does that make sense? Another series that every single element in that would be a list. It's not just one string anymore. Okay, so we have that and we say apply dot get elements based on the position of the pass, which is 0. So it's gonna just fetch the first element in that list. Does that make sense? But you have all the right to say that this is unnecessarily complex. Why don't you use lambda? Look at this one. Simply you say, hey, go to all the thread, and instead of using that function that we have written a few seconds ago, you can say lambda, get that x, means the whole string, list, and just fetch the index 0 of it. And guys, I know that lambda is not very much user-friendly at the beginning. It takes time for you to get comfortable with it. But in data science, we use lambda a lot. So it's not a bad idea to get used to it, start working with it. These are just 2 ways to fetch the last name. There are other ways, so feel free later to try. Let's go to the next slide together. And for doing that, please just pull up drinks by country from Bitly. And when you're done, give me a signal. Thank you. See? Okay, done. Bravo. Merci. So let's go to the next part together. Let's again use log. So let's say drinks.log. All the rows, but we want to have beer servings all the way to wine servings, which includes 3 columns. Technically, we create a subsidiary of a data frame, which is a new data frame. Those friends that are like Reza, you are not very fast in typing, don't worry. You can just, open and move. PowerPoint that I've already posted, PowerPoint number 30. And slide number 11, please go there. You can just find the code in the note part of it. Okay. The next thing is, I wanna see the max value, but before I start explaining my understanding, please talk to your neighbors. Say why, when you want to calculate the maximum of each column, you say x is equal to 0. I have no clue about it, so I would be grateful if somebody, after discussing with your friends, just explain that to me. Why, when we want to calculate the max of each column, we say, look at here, we say, go to drinks data frame, go or use log, all the rows, these columns, and then we say apply max, but we don't say, for instance, x is equal to 1. Why we say x is equal to 0 to calculate the max? Did you talk? Let me just, did he talk to you and explain to you? No? Unacceptable. Explain to your friends first. Talk to Maharshi first. He knows, okay, just spend, oh, awesome. Just 30 seconds. Jonathan, no friends around you? You have, oh, sorry. It was hidden, just, I saw a hat waving, like. You have explanation? Okay, let me just, who else? Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, just give me a sec. Anybody else volunteer? Yeah, you are number 2, number 5. Okay, so. Prof. Ernest is explaining. Ernest, now, would you please explain it to the whole class?
Yeah, so can we open the screen?
Sure.
So here we can see like only 5, but if we.
I'm sorry, can you just give him a room to come to the board? So I'm super excited to. Don't explain very good, then people are gonna ask you to continue, not me. So please.
Okay, it's right.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so here we can see that there's only 5, but if we check everything from 0 to 192 rows, and when we use axis 0, it means it's gonna show just one line instead of axis 1, which is gonna show everything. So it's just gonna find one of them, put beer serving, spirit serving, and wine serving, and then just show the maximum for that one only instead of showing everything else. So that's my explanation, the way I understand.
Are you satisfied with what he explained? No, sorry, Ernest. Okay, 1 bonus mark for Ernest so far, but where's your name, sir? Ernest, okay. The second person was, thank you. The second person was you. You want to explain once again? Yes. Just experience how it is scary, right? To stand in front of people. Yes, please.
As it's explained that as we are taking the axis here, so it is just gonna compile, like take all the columns, rows, and then will just tell us the maximum throughout all the rows.
Excellent. So what is your name?
Mega.
This one, right?
Yes, that's good.
Thank you very much. I appreciate. So just one quick question thank you very much.
Negin, you wanted to say something similar, right? Okay, so Negin as well. And who else wanted? Harlan as well. And Harlan, you didn't raise your hand, right?
So you don't even need to specify access, that's default. Yeah.
That's actually have one negative mark. Because well, joking aside, I know that that's the default, right? But please do not rely on defaults, right? It reduces the another bonus though. And Mr. Carl, right, all right. Okay, so the thing is, as Harlan said, yes, it is correct. It is possible not to mention axis equal to 0 because that's the default value. But guys, that is how I just picture it. Whenever you want to calculate the maximum of each column, it means that let's collapse down the result into one new row, right? So the maximum number of each column we just mentioned in a new row. Does that make sense? So that is why you say axis equal to 0. And please try this one. And now this is easy. When you want to see the maximum number in a row, so it's like folding all the numbers and just have one new column. So that's why you say what axis equal to 1. Please try this too. And do not forget, the intention of this was not using max or axis. We wanted to practice apply, that we apply something into series or into columns, rows. If you're done with that, please give me a signal. Bravo, awesome. And by saying that, look at this. Sometimes you don't want to have exact number. You want to see, for instance, in Albania, which alcohol drink is consumed more. For instance, in Albania, it is spirit serving. In Algeria, beer serving, right? So it shows that each column, for doing so, instead of max, you can simply say numpy.argmax. And you have the right to say, Reza, in Afghanistan, we don't have any number bigger than the rest. So why it shows beer settings? Is it a kind of random pick or what? Whenever you are done with this, I'm going to explain after that. You remember in data structure course, when you wanted to find a max value in an array, you picked the first one as a maximum, right? And then you check it with the second one and see if the second one is bigger than just swap and so on. Guess what? Here, what is the maximum? The first column, if you just consider it pure settings, no other column is bigger than the first column. So that's why it picks the first column. Does that make sense? Awesome. And let's just see what it said. Now let's learn about apply map. That's the last concept in panels, which is also a data frame method. So what is apply map? Imagine that you have beer settings, spirit settings, and wine settings. If we get back to the previous slide, you see that they are all integer numbers. You can check them by saying describe them, kind of thing. But my question for you, if you say apply map, first thing first, remember when you say drinks.log and you just grab a portion of a data frame
that section is gonna be a new data frame. And the new data frame that contains all integer numbers. So yeah, the question is it possible to say apply map and convert them all to float? Yes. Another question, Peter, is it going to apply it actually? Means that the values that you have are integers, right? Are they going to be float? The answer is no. If you want to replace them, what you need to do is say drinks.log and say the same data set and then equal to a float version of it. Now it is replaced. Does that make sense? Please give it a shot. And after you're done, check the first 5 rows. It should show you 0.0, not just 0. Sorry. I don't think we have in place room for that. It's not a bad idea to search. I think that we don't have in place. Okay, guys, done. Lovely. Let me just make sure that I did I copy out? Yes. We have a lab exercise 3. Just to review what we will do next and in the next lecture. I was working on Tableau last night, and actually I was working on Power BI as well. So I had hesitation which one to pick for the next session. Ended up deciding to work on Tableau, which is a little bit more complicated. And I don't know if I can find time to make PowerPoints for Power BI as well. If I can, I'm gonna just do that too. But definitely I'm gonna update all the things that I have for the latest version of Tableau. That's one thing. And the other thing is for today lab exercise, before we started, I'm gonna just say goodbye to the people that they might watch it later. So bye guys. And I'm gonna stop. Did I just start recording or not? Yeah. When did I check? Okay.